Hello everyone. Today we are going to take input using serial monitor. We have been displaying things using serial monitor, yes. But how about taking values from the user? If the user does the user want to do things or whatever the user wants to do. Okay, if you want to ask the user's name, for example, and display it onto an LCD. I don't want to hard code it. I want to ask the user what is the name, what is the user's name, and that user's name should be displayed on an LCD maybe. Okay, we'll start with the basics now. Let me start off with this program. I'll show you the running of this program, and then you can figure out how we'll figure things out. Okay, I've taken an Arduino. That's all I need because I need to code. So if I need coding, I need Arduino. If I remove this Arduino, the coding also will be disabled and I cannot. So I brought in Arduino and I've already put in the code here. Let me show you the working of this code first. I want to ask the user for a name and that name should be displayed back on the serial monitor. So basically what this is doing, let me run this again because it was actually displaying something earlier. So enter your name is going to be displayed by this particular statement. So enter your name has been displayed. Now it is asking you for the input. So this statement is basically you taking the input from the user. Okay, so I'll actually go to the box below the serial monitor. The cursor will appear, and I will write down whatever name I want to write. I want to display. So what this serial.read string function is basically going to do is it is going to take this name which has been input by the user and store it into a variable called name. And ultimately that name is going to be displayed back to the user on the serial monitor. So if I click on send here, what will happen is it is going to display the name entered is Rajendra and it will ask you to enter your name again. I'll just correct this a little bit. Instead of print, I want a println here and I'll put a println here so that our things are displayed properly. So let me run this again. So text input, I'll write my name Rajendra, and when I click on send or press enter, it will display the name entered is Rajendra. So this is what is the value in the variable name now, and it is asking for the name again because it has gone into the loop again and it is asking for the name again. Now you know how things have happened. I will be explaining how these two statements work. These two statements are basically used for taking input from the user. Let us go back to our text area and see how things should happen. Okay. First things first, we need to prompt the user for an input. So that means I need to display using a serial.println, please enter a number or please enter your name or how many times should the LED blink or something like that. And or a menu could be displayed like 1 to blink LEDs, 2 to move servo and stuff like that. Okay. Now data can be entered in the form of int, float or string. Okay, I'll explain to you. Uh, First thing that we need to do is basically two things that we need to do. One is you need to put a loop. This is the loop that you need to use. That's all. That means you will write while serial.available function is equal to 0 and braces. Now this is an empty while loop. This loop is basically going to wait till the user is ready to enter some values. So when the user enters some values, it will actually exit from this loop. So it goes on and on. This loop goes on and on, doing nothing of course, but only waiting for the input to be done. So if you have understood things, fine. Otherwise, this is the statement that you need to give before the input is going to be taken. So the actual input is basically taken by these three functions. So one is serial.parseInt function, serial.parseFloat function, and serial.readString function. And if you remember, the function that I used was read string because I was inputting strings. So basically, you could be inputting numbers, and numbers could be integers. If you are using integer, use parseInt function. If you are taking numbers with decimal points, you will use parsefloat function. And if you're using strings, inputting strings, you will use read string function. So examples are, you created a variable called m, which is int type, and you will write m is equal to serial.parseInt function. So serial.parseInt function will take input from the user and store it into the variable m. Similarly for parsefloat and similarly for read string. Now this is the program that I had written. Okay, I had shown you. So this is the prompt that the user will be displayed. If you don't display this prompt, how will the user come to know what is the program expecting it to? Okay, like for example, when you are inputting, when you open Gmail, it shows you prompts. This is where you enter your username. This is where you enter your password. If they just give you two empty boxes, you will not know what to put in what. And as I told you, this prompt is okay. Okay, and second is I need an empty while loop, and this is going to be the while loop that you will use. You will always use it this way, doesn't matter what. The only thing that will change is basically this read string could be a parseInt or a parsefloat. That depends on what kind of data you are inputting. Okay, I hope you are clear with this.